Hey guys, welcome to Finally Clicked, the podcast where we discuss business, leadership, and personal development. My name is Margaret Smith, and I'm the Director of Operations for Pickett Street Properties, a real estate team out of Bothell, Washington. And I'll be here every week with our owner and team leader, Jesse D. Moore. We'll be digging into concepts and ideas that have helped us both personally and professionally, and you'll also get a chance to hear from local and national experts that we know provide massive value to get to the point where it all finally clicks.
Welcome to another episode of Finally Clicked with your hosts, Jesse Dylan Moore and Margaret McCollum Smith.
McCollum?
Macaulay.
Macaulay. That was good, though. I like that.
Oh, I was thinking of Home Alone.
Yeah, Macaulay Culkin.
Macaulay. Culkin. Why'd I say McCollum?
I don't know.
There was a girl in college. Her last name was McCollum. That was a friend
Did you just
of mine.
have her on your mind right now, randomly?
I'm tired, okay?
Hey, me too.
I'm tired because my teenage daughter went to a concert with friends last night.
Oh, yeah. Do you stay up, wait for her to come back?
No, I went to bed, but I had to get up early to go work out. And I think I was a little bit anxious, making sure it went okay.
It went all right, yeah. Did she have a good time?
I don't know. That's the thing about teenage girls. They don't
Talk much.
yeah. I didn't get a thank you. Well, I know she's thankful, but I haven't heard about it yet.
Yeah.
So
She'll talk more the older she gets. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty hard not to talk with you. It happens eventually.
I don't know. I found out my mom called me intimidating this weekend.
Oh, she did?
Yeah. Like, how's that feel if you intimidate your own mom? I think at that point I have to believe her, right?
Oh,
I
man.
don't think I'm intimidating. I think I'm intense. I think I can be intense.
Mm-hmm.
Especially to my family.
Well, we've talked about this before, too. You're a passionate person, and as am I. So I think sometimes when people aren't used to that, it can come across as intimidating. Mm-hmm. I was having the same conversation with somebody last night about a family that is very much avoidant of any sort of conversation about anything real. Man, what a life. Like, there might be times when I'm uncomfortable or times when I don't know what to say. But I have to say, it's one of the things I'm grateful to you for is really you've helped me force conversation about things that are not easy to talk about. So, and I've never felt intimidated by you. And I know I've said that before.
Yeah.
Intimidation is a word that to me has a connotation that's kind of a negative connotation of fear. And I've never been afraid of you. I think the people that I would be afraid of would be when I'm fearful of physical harm or intimidation just sounds very I don't know.
No, I know what you mean. I think that I think what people are really saying, I might be exhausting because I think people have to, how do I say this without sounding like a real...
Well, you're, like I've said before, you're one of the best negotiators. And so to sit down with you to discuss something.
I just like depth.
Uh-huh.
I like depth in conversation, and I don't like superficial conversation.
Yeah.
And so I think I make you bring your A game a
Mm-hmm.
little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And that can be intimidating to some people. Or
Mm-hmm. If they're not used to it, if they've never been exposed to it. So, yeah.
So, anyway. And that was, so my mom was here this weekend, and she's, I grew up in a red state. She's still there. And it I have a very healthy perspective on a lot of things. I can argue. I can probably argue either side of most social, social and or political stances. But it was funny when she goes, you're a little bit intimidating. And I was like, oh, man, my own mom thinks I'm intimidating. But I don't get to see her that often. I don't see her that often. So, and that's something we talked about, too. It's like, well, maybe part of that intimidation is that I have such a short window of time to,
fit things in.
Yeah,
conversations that you've been wanting to have.
And if I really hate superficial conversation, imagine how much I hate superficial conversation with my family.
Yeah.
Right? So anyway. And she didn't know I had a podcast.
That's kind of surprising.
And it's fine. I mean, it's like...
How did you bring it up? Were you just like...
I just mentioned it, and then I don't know. She has a rough idea of what podcasts are, but not a applicable idea.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like we got a great feedback letter from a listener.
Oh yeah.
And that's something like my old codependent self probably would have hung on my bedroom door, right? Like for everyone to see.
Hey, well, I'm still, I'm going to print that puppy out and put it over by my desk or something. Share it on social media.
No, but it is like something that you wish you could share with the people that you love, right? Mm-hmm. That when you make a difference in someone's life or you alter their perspective.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I've thought about that a lot because as much as so much of my family knows what I do, not everybody has listened to the podcast yet. So, I mean, they're all busy. They all have things going on. But sometimes I have to force myself to share some of the things that I'm doing because I know maybe they didn't see it. Like, I don't know that my brothers have listened to the podcast yet. I know that one of them's listened to a couple episodes, but that's hard to take what you're doing and go back to your personal life and say, oh, I made a difference in this lady's life. Mm-hmm. It's weird.
Well, that's fine, right? Like, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It matters to us.
Yeah.
And that's what should matter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If we were doing it for the accolades or the acclaim.
Then it's not the same.
It's not the same.
No.
I am so tired. I am so tired.
What time were you up till last night?
10:15, and I was up at 5:15. But I just did not want to get out of bed today.
Well, then you had a coffee meeting this morning.
Oh my goodness, I did. Yes,
with our friend Kevin.
Oh, you're gonna out his name?
Heck
Sorry,
yeah,
Kevin.
Outed.
Yeah, we may have a special guest here momentarily. We'll see. Could be an interesting episode. Yeah, I had a coffee meeting. You know, it's funny when a day is full. Like, do you get any anxiety over?
Oh, I had anxiety this morning.
Having a full
which is
day?
part of the reason I had to stay home and do my first meeting from home. Because I was in the restroom and I was like finishing my hair and doing all those things, my makeup. I was in the I said restroom, it just sounded better than bathroom for some reason in my head at the moment.
I was in the restroom of my house.
And I was like, oh my gosh, Margaret.
I was in the lobby.
I was like, I stopped and I said, I need to calm down. And then I said, you know what, Margaret? Talking to myself, you can have your first meeting from home. It's going to be okay. And once I did that, it went down. But yeah, because today we have this podcast recording that I knew we wanted to do. We have a possible mastermind we might want to go to. And then I still have to do all the prep for our retreat for 2 days. And gathering the stats takes me time. And then there's just been a lot of people in and around the office, which drives my anxiety up because if I'm not able to focus without noise, it's a lot harder for me to process things. So it's just, it doubles the amount of time it takes me to do things. So... and I also know that I need to leave. I want to leave the office by 4:30 or 5 today.
Why is that?
Because I have a date.
Oh, you have a date.
So that's a priority in my life now. I have to make space for, time for. So it just means it all needs to happen within regular hours. So yes, my anxiety was high today because I knew I had a packed day.
Right. So that was my thing, right? Like I think I actually made myself more tired by obsessing over how much I had to do today. And so then I'm like, I better really relax hard tonight, because tomorrow's a big day. And then I had some FOMO because I bought these tickets for my daughter to go to this concert.
Oh, you wanted to go?
Well, I didn't really. I mean, I'm kind of glad I didn't have to go because I'd be even more tired.
Yeah. But you wanted to be a part of it.
But it's her favorite artist.
Yeah.
She's 13. She got to take 2 friends. And it was a pretty unique experience, and I would have loved to see her face and everything. But I'm at the same time so glad that I could go to bed at 10:15 and.
What time did they get back?
11:15. But that an hour of sleep, I mean,
It helps
sleep
a lot.
is
Not to mention
major.
just sleep, but the process of getting to sleep sometimes can add on another half hour, depending on what you're thinking about.
Here we go. Okay, Margaret. Let's do this. This is gonna be fun. All right, so you're home alone. And then what? You're like, oh, I better start getting ready to put myself to
Let
sleep.
me go to the restroom really quick.
Let me sit in the lobby. No, like it takes you how long to decide to go to a half hour, an hour?
I'm saying, like, once I'm in bed, sometimes it can take a while to get tired enough to fall
You're
asleep.
so neurotic. You are. People think you have it so together. And you
That's
do.
what I'm saying. I don't.
In public, you do. Like on social media, you do. Everywhere, you're so together. And then you say something like that, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's the crack.
Come on, there's the crack. There's so many cracks. I have a process, and I'm trying to meditate at night now. So it's not just like, like guys can just go to the bathroom and boom, go to bed. I have to like wash my face, take out my contacts. I have like a process, and then I meditate for at least 5 minutes. And then sometimes, like you've experienced, your brain just whirls, and mine whirls with things that I have to do the next day. And so getting my brain to quiet down and actually working out is part of what helps me the most. Like just exhaust myself so I can just pass out.
Alrighty then.
Do you just fall asleep right away?
No, I like to be tired before I go to bed.
Yeah.
That helps.
Mm-hmm.
I don't go, oh, I'm so awake. I think I'll go to bed now and wait an hour to go to sleep. No, I wait until I'm tired. No, but I was thinking about this last night. Like this was my first thought in my head today. This is going to be the worst podcast ever as far as productivity because I'm going to just be like, I'm going to tell you all the things you shouldn't do.
Uh-huh.
I woke up thinking about that space of time between when I worked from home last night.
Uh-huh.
I got home and I realized I had a busy day, so I better do some work. So I worked till like 7 last night at home. And then that span from 7 to 10:15, that's my favorite time ever. And so I was just imagining. And then when I first put myself to bed and I lay down and my entire weight is supported by, something that feels like a cloud. Like it's so nice and warm. And I just love those first 15 minutes.
Wow.
Before I fall asleep. It's the best. It's the best. You don't feel that way?
No, I do. I like it too. It's just the way you described it it's good.
It is good.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
I recently got one of those eye masks from Bed Bath & Beyond that's like super soft, and it's a blackout one. So you put it on and you're like, you can't see shit. And it's fantastic. So I put it on now and I'm just like, it's actually helped a lot. I've realized.
I like how you said it's the blackout eye mask. Like they make some that are semi-transparent. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Sometimes you put those on and they're like,
those are called goggles.
Paper thin.
Those are different.
You can't, like, it still lets some light in. But this is literally like...
Do your eyelashes hit the underside of the...
It does, actually. I realized that last night.
Which
just actually was satisfying.
They design them where they, like, when
they
you
puff out a little
go
bit.
first class in, like,
these ones puff
British
out a little bit,
Airways
actually.
They have a little ridge to them so that your eyelashes...
No, these ones have a ridge, but I've been using this eyelash extender thing.
Oh, okay.
So now they're getting longer, which I really enjoy. So it actually made me happy. Except for sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh, God. It's like I can't see anything and I forget that I'm wearing it.
I can't.
It's a moment of panic. And then
Someone should do there's a great meme of Margaret with Bird Box. Do you know what Bird Box? Was it Bird Box? Is that what it's called?
I feel like Dana Browning could do something with this.
There's what's her name? Sandra. Who's the actress that was in like Speed?
Bullock?
Yeah, Sandra Bullock.
Look at me.
Yeah. So she has a show on
finished the
Netflix.
name.
I thought it was called Bird Box or Bird. Anyway, she's wearing a mask the whole time because if you look at this, the premise is that there's this alien that invades Earth, and if you look at the alien, then you die.
Perfect.
But if you don't look at it, you're fine.
Okay.
Right? But it's scary because imagine you're walking through the woods and you hear it and you feel it, but you have a mask on,
That's
so you can't see it.
That's frightening.
That'll help you go sleep tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Actually, I've been going to sleep easier the last couple weeks.
Oh, what do you attribute that to?
I just think some in-depth thinking and reflection around my anxiety around sleep. Mm-hmm.
So you're thinking more about sleep?
Less.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
Mm-hmm. It's been good.
Good story. What else did you want to talk about today?
Well, we're going on our team retreat this week, and I'm excited about it. And I've had a few questions recently from people, the classes that I've taught, asking what we do at our team retreats, because there are a couple teams around the U.S. that we know that we both follow that actually have team advances, they call them now, or retreats and agendas. But there's actually quite a few people that don't know what to put on the agenda of a team retreat. And so I thought we could talk briefly about that, and you could give your 2 cents about what your experience has been with them.
Retreats?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk team retreats. Well, we decided to make it a priority this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that we don't make it a priority every year.
It's happened every year except for one, I think. We might have even still done something, just the three of us.
We've done something every year.
Yeah.
So even if it was just at my house, we
That's
set
what we did
aside
last
time
year.
to
do a full day.
But this year we've rebuilt the team. We have key people on board, and it's important to me that we invest in those people. And so we're doing that by doing an off-site retreat so that we can make sure that our standards are clear and agreed upon, and to future trip for next year, and to cast out the vision that we want to create for our life in 2020. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be good.
What's your favorite part?
I mean, I like the downtime. I like the time, when we're making meals or after it's all said and done, and pouring a glass of wine. And we always do it in a great location. It's so beautiful here in the Pacific Northwest that you can take a ferry ride to, something on the water, but that's affordable. So for us, we don't need to go far.
Thank goodness. I love that it's accessible.
We don't have to go far, and we get an amazing view and some time together. And we've been reading a book. I'll say this. So we're reading Simon Sinek's The Infinite Game right now. And it's been very edifying for us because what Simon is laying out in that book is very much a reflection of our ideology here at Pickett Street. And it's been neat to have these new team members read it and see it and comment on it. And so part of this retreat is part of the infinite game, part of the long-term success of the team. This is one of those fundamental pieces that I wouldn't want to take away. So,
well, I will share our agenda in the show notes so people have an example of what we talk about. Because I think there's people that just kind of don't know what to do or what that day should be about.
Well, I think you can start off by, I think the team retreat should always be an opportunity to kind of get back to basics. And so one of the things I always like to talk about at a retreat is some of the foundational things that made us successful in the beginning. And that could be how we deliver flyers, how we maintain communication with clients. It could be small standards and expectations, but it's stuff that always made us successful. And acknowledging that and then sharing those ideas with team members so that everyone is on the same page. Yeah,
it's a good reminder that I think sometimes you and I we can forget that I know the history of Pickett Street, backwards, forwards, left, right, all the ways around, and nobody else does actually yet. So going through your life story as an example kind of helps to tell the history, and then giving them that foundation. Not to mention, none of these folks have experienced a retreat before, period. I know one of them's been on one with a real estate team before, but not one like ours. Like, I very much take a lot of pride in the fact that we do things by the book, but with our own book. Like, it's not necessarily, there's fun, and there's, it's not a super strict environment by any means, but at the same time we get things done, which is how we work, kind of how we operate in the office. And there's just, I couldn't be on a team or be a part of a company that didn't have goals and didn't actually like do constructive things, on a weekend like this. So
the other part I like about our retreat is the like mind mapping stuff and the vision casting, where we're just like,
that's fun.
Strip away any rules and just like try to
creative
throw
time.
Stuff against the wall and see what works.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's necessary, in a market that's changing and an industry that's changing, is to make sure that we have some creative time to figure out what we're going to experiment with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Mm-hmm. So we'll be headed to Vashon Island this year.
Yep. And you're starting to lay out the pieces for your Pacific Northwest Admin Retreat.
I am.
What's the next steps there? Early registration?
Early registration for past attendees. I'm still doing that and I think I might always, I don't know, that could change in the future, but for now, this will be the 4th year. I can't believe it. I think the 4th year. And as a thank you to past attendees that took a chance on me and said yes, not knowing what really to experience or what they would get, I like to offer them a week to register in advance. So I have about a 50% rate of, what do we call that, retention rate?
Yeah.
From people that come back from previous years. So about 50% of the spots will fill up. And I think this year I'm going to offer a total of 38 spots. So there'll be a few more than normal.
So does that mean you're changing your venue for sure?
Possibly. Don't have to. Can still have that number of people. But I would like to actually have it west of the mountains. And so that's why for the first time in the history of the retreat, I actually have a little bit of a committee, and they're helping me. They're doing research and looking for new locations, and because they've all been at least once, they know what it's like and what my expectations are. So if we could find another place, if anybody out there that's listening has access to an estate that could house 40 people that are very respectful guests, that would be amazing. Yeah, looking for a location. And then our other task this month in November is speakers. And so they're working at different speakers that they think would be good and getting me in front of them for like a quick meeting to see if number one, if they're a good fit, and then if it's even an option for us with our budget. Yeah. So it's exciting. It's nice to have some help, and it's also a good test for me to see if I can let go of certain parts of it, because it's very important to me that it's run the way that I envisioned it. And so these girls all know what my vision is, and so we'll see.
You had to reset standards and expectations in that group too, didn't you?
Not specifically with the operations retreat, but with our local admin mastermind in our office and with other brokerages. Yes, we just recently reset expectations in a big way.
Can we talk about that?
Sure, love to.
So tell me about it. What did you have to change, and why did you have to change it?
Okay, we're going on year 3, and Sarah Trosky and I started it about 3 years ago because we didn't have one locally, and we opened it up to any brokerage and actually to mortgage company admin, and it's been going really well. And the thing that's kept it going really is the core group of like 5 or 6 of us that show up every single month, no matter what. First Friday of the month from 11:30 to 1. Lunch is officially sponsored by Cody Touche with the Touche team and Caliber Home Loans, which is a huge benefit to have lunch every single month provided by him and his team. And so it's been going along, and we read a book, and then we usually have a speaker. So somebody is assigned to the month, and we go through the chapters that we've read, discuss them, and then whoever it is that's in charge brings the topic to the table. And over the last year, it's just become more and more apparent to me that the number of us that were reading were dwindling. And I finally said, I think it was 3 meetings ago, I said, you guys, I don't care if you don't like the book. That's not the point. The point is that you come prepared and you've done the reading and you're here to discuss it. And we discuss things we love, we discuss things we hate or don't agree with, but you do the time and you take the time to read. And I'm tired of coming to a group where this is supposed to elevate me along with all of us, and to only have 3 or 4 of us that have read the content and the rest of you just sit back and experience the conversation without having any input and just take what you get, and there's no giving back. This is unacceptable. And if we don't have more people that are involved and reading and actually doing the work, then I'm going to start a mastermind of my own that happens at my house with a group of people that just want to participate. And so I put that out there, and it was fairly well received, but there's still some people that said, I just hate this book. And I said, that's fine if you hate it, but I'd like you to talk about how much you hate it and come prepared to talk about what parts of the content you hated. Because there have definitely been books that I've read, not very many, but there's some that are boring or that don't apply to me. But if you can get one piece of information out of it, awesome, you've done something. And so after that meeting, I had, for a long time in my head, had an idea of making something like they do for masterminds in other industries, which is basically like a contract or something that says this is what you will do if you want to participate. And it's not anything super set in stone. It's not like I'm going to take attendance, but I created something I call the promise. And basically what it is that you agree to attend at least 10 out of the 12 meetings a year. You will offer to present, and you will do the reading every single time. And it's all laid out on one page along with our MVVBP, which we created this year. And then you sign it, date it, and you submit it. And you have to submit that in order to still be included in the private Facebook group. And so I took everybody out of the group. There's about 80 people, because before this, it was just whoever wanted to join the group. Mm-hmm. And there's a private group and there's a public group. So people that want to see what's going on in the Pacific Northwest in the public group can still do that. But if they want to be a part of the private, they have to sign that. And so far we only have 12. And so it was fairly well received, and we discussed it. I made it an open conversation so everybody could participate and have, buy-in and all of that. And these are also really low standards, low expectations in my mind. Like, I would have higher standards if I were doing this at my house in a private mastermind group. But I did get some feedback, particularly from a couple people. One person wrote me a very long email about why they were no longer going to be participating because they didn't feel like it was right to enforce something like that. And so it gave me the opportunity to reply and start a conversation with that person about how I don't have the time to take attendance. I'm not going to be sitting at the door checking people off a list as you come in. That's not the point. This is a personal commitment. And so, I'm glad that we did it. I am happy that I started it, and I'm happy that it's continuing, and it's not my responsibility to run the whole thing and eventually have a conversation with myself.
Well, you're doing something that I feel like few people do, and that is, if it's not going the way that you want, or people aren't responding in the way that you want, you're holding them to an expectation. Mm-hmm. And you're creating standards to make sure that your expectation is being met, mm-hmm. right? And
I loved having this conversation with you, because I told them, if this is a social hour for you, then schedule lunch with people outside of this. This is 90 minutes a month where you're taking the time to leave your offices, come here. I'm taking the time to market it, talk about it on Facebook, let you all know via email, remind you of the reading. I'm taking the time to do this. And if you want to have lunch with someone and this is all this is about, then schedule that outside of this. But this is one time a month where we have to get together and actually be purposeful.
There you go. I'm just saying, you're really good at that, and I know you hear from people all the time that are like, how do you get people to read a book every week? How do you get people to do this? And you're like, you don't completely understand that question, because it's just, you make it a standard.
Well, it's just very much how we operate on Pickett Street. And I've talked to 2 girls lately in the last 2 weeks about, they asked what we do at our team meetings, and everybody's always interested. And I said a big part of that is the book reading. And they were like, how do you get your people to read? And I just said, how do you not? Why is it even a question? It's a standard on our team. It always has been. Period. If you don't want to participate, then go.
Yeah, and we have very little blowback about it.
No, yeah. People love it.
People do their reading, and they definitely love it. Right now, people are loving the book we're reading right now.
Yeah.
Daniel is doing finding additional case studies.
Notes, yeah.
Yeah.
No, and there's definitely been, and Sarah Trotsky is an example of that. When she first joined the team, she was not a reader, and she fully admitted that, and she was a slow reader. And so it took her a couple years to really get into it, but now she's totally seen the ROI, and she's continuing to read after having, done her own thing now with fitness. So, yeah.
I worked out with Sarah Trosky today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
How was that?
I mean, I'm tired. So.
I know. Are you going to make it through this?
I am so tired. I'm such an old man now.
You are hardly an old man.
I don't know.
Are you? I think you just put this idea in your mind and you need to erase it. How old are you?
You know what else is exhausting? 40? Having kids. Having kids is exhausting.
Well, you know what? I can say that I do not have any experience with that. And all I can say is that looking at what people need to do with their children, yeah, I can see how I would be exhausted. I would be totally wiped. I would not be the same Margaret I am today. I would be different.
There's, I think I've quoted this before, but it's such a great joke. Jim Gaffigan, who has like 5 kids.
Yeah.
In one of his specials, people asked him, they're like, because he lives in New York, and I think it can be hard to raise a family in New York if you're living in the city. There's no yards to, there's definitely very few yards to play in, but you can go to a park or whatever. But anyway, in his own way, someone asked Jim, like, what's it like having 4 kids? Or what's it like? He was preparing for like their 4th child to be born. And they're like, what's that like? What's it feel like? And he goes, well, it's like drowning and someone throws you a baby. And that gets me every time. Because as a parent, it resonates. You get it. It's like it's like something's going wrong and badly, and then kids make it worse in a way. And I don't mean worse like it's great in hindsight and everything else, but you just make sacrifices you never think you would make, and no one prepares you to be a parent, man. Mm-hmm. They just don't. It's so funny.
How can you really
Jill
prepare?
is a labor and delivery nurse, and so. And it's been interesting to me because I thought about my experience having my 2 kids, and I didn't know anything. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to put a car seat in. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how to help my ex-wife with the labor. Like, I didn't know. I showed up, and then the nurses seemed to have this expectation that I was going to do something to help. And I was like, isn't that why you're here? Like, and then you have this tiny human being that is completely dependent upon you, and you drive different, and everything's different. It changes everything. And then you lose sleep, and you don't get to do things that you used to get to do. But it's totally worth it. It's just exhausting sometimes. That's all I have to say. But it's delightful to see them. Right now, my kids are turning into tiny adults, Selah's in 7th grade, and she's starting to, be embarrassed and about her dad. When I got home, I put on my PJs and I was working from home, and because I knew they were leaving, right? Mm-hmm. And Jill, in typical Jill fashion, she was out of gas in her car, and she's supposed to take 3 girls to Seattle to a show, right? Mm-hmm. And it takes half an hour to get gas if you have to go to a station and pump and everything. It's not half an hour, but 20 minutes for sure. And so if I'm like, you know what? I'm going to make it easy for you. I'll go get gas and I'll fill your car up. You. But I was in my PJs and I'm like, I don't care.
No,
I'm going to
go to the gas station.
So I wore my boat shoes and my plaid.
There you go.
I would do the PJs, pants, and a blue solid shirt.
Yeah.
And then my daughter, when I came back, she's like, did you pump gas like that? I'm like, of course I did. Of course I did.
I remember those times.
No shame in my
times.
game.
Yeah, no shame.
I'm there to pump gas, not to look good for people. This is the most random podcast.
For sure.
Oh my gosh,
There's a
people
party
are
in
so
our office,
loud.
apparently. I know there was pancake breakfast this morning.
Oh, our guest is on the way. I think he'll be here momentarily.
Oh, wow.
Our possible guest.
Okay. This is exciting.
Oh, I just got a text message. I had a meeting, or I had a phone call at 11, apparently. Gee whiz.
Was it on your calendar?
I think it was.
Oh, no. I love talking about your calendar in my class, by the way.
Why is that?
Because I'm so proud of you and how you use it now. I mean, despite this appointment that passed us by this morning, right now. Oh, yeah. There's you've changed a lot in terms of how you use it as a tool. And I feel like you have less fear around it.
Listen.
Or maybe anxiety.
Here's what I've learned about myself and my life in general. I've wasted far too much time being stubborn.
Oh.
And just assuming something is true or making an excuse instead of trying new things or doing something else.
Mm-hmm.
And like with my back, as an example, like my back's doing pretty well right now. And I'm moving better and people have commented. And it's because I took the time necessary to figure out what was wrong and then figure out a treatment, figure out a way to have relief, right?
Yeah.
And I lived with that for a long time. And it took work and effort, and I had to advocate for myself. And this is something I'm teaching my daughter about. Like, she's reaching an age where her mom and I can't be there all the time. We can't be the one that says, hey, ask the teacher this or whatever. She has to, if she's not getting something, she has to
Speak up for herself.
speak up for herself.
Yeah.
Or with peer groups, if someone's mistreating a friend, she has to start to speak up. And so, it's like teaching a real estate class makes me a better real estate agent. Well, parenting makes me a better human being for that reason. Is that
I think that's totally true.
I see my daughter and I see how she's a little bit afraid and nervous and anxious to like put herself out there or to, and I realize that there's areas of my life I've done that. Or I've been afraid to do something, and it keeps me from doing it, and then I don't like the result. So I'm trying to be better about.
Do you have an example of that?
Well, I just gave one. My back is an example
of just like waiting for too long before you decided to start.
Well, I wish that I would have diversified my business more.
Okay.
I wish, I can think about stuff like that all the time. But here's what I mean. It's so easy for me to just be the ornery curmudgeon and like live there and not care what other people say.
Yeah.
As long as the people I care about get it.
Yeah.
So. Margaret is plugging in a microphone for our potential guest. It is so loud outside the studio. It's like there's a convention going on.
I know. I don't know what it is, really.
Oh, here we are.
Oh, wow.
Oh, special guest.
I feel
Good to see you, sir.
I feel so VIP. What is
just
happening
slide
here?
into the studio.
That's what I'm here for.
I'm so glad Kevin Kauffman is here to redeem this podcast because I've been.
Oh, my gosh.
Has he been taking it downhill? He does
Well,
that.
he's
No.
been a little tired this morning.
I'm so tired.
He told me that.
I had to get up and meet
5:15.
Kevin for coffee.
Oh, hold on. What time did we meet? 8:50?
8:50.
Yeah, that's not early, buddy.
Well, I had to work out
sympathy.
beforehand.
There we go.
There we go.
Now I'm starting to feel for you a little bit.
Yeah.
Did you have a good
It was
appointment? Stacked. Kevin Kauffman stacking appointments. Bought the Washington.
I asked him if
Yeah,
I could have
baby,
a
that's
slot
what
with
I
you,
do.
like between this and the whatever else you got going on.
good. Yeah, we'll pull the calendar up, the old calendar up, and make sure you get the 27 and a half minutes in between the next two things.
I'm a big believer in context. Context is king for everyone listening. If you don't know who we're talking to, this is Kevin Kauffman, half of the Wonder Team, Group
Wonder
4610.
The Wonder Team.
Group 4610 out of Phoenix, Arizona.
Literally have never been referred to as the Wonder Team.
Do I say?
Or the Wonder anything.
Is it? Well, I was saying it wonder with like in the German sense with the little dots above the.
Nice.
It's wonder. It's wonder. It's Wonder Team. With the WU with the thing.
Should we have him tell everybody a little bit about who he is? And is
Yes,
it really
Kevin.
Fred's birthday today, or is that a joke?
That was
was
yesterday.
It was yesterday.
Yeah,
okay.
for
Come
real.
on,
Okay.
get
Yeah,
with it.
he's-
If you were really a friend, Margaret, you would know.
I can't believe that. You mean you didn't send him a group text message?
I know. I should have.
What kind of friend are you?
Not a good one.
All right.
Yeah.
So clearly the three of us go back way too far. I was telling someone last night, actually, that, or maybe it was yesterday afternoon about, this guy, Jesse Moore, just reached out to me one day, like totally cold and said, hey, if you will teach in our area, I promise like I can get a lot of people there for you. You don't know me, but I promise like we can make it happen if you'll trust me. And I'm like, for some weird reason, I believed him. And here we are like a decade later. We're still like we're friends. And I'm like, I was telling someone like, I know a lot of people in the area, mostly because of that first class that we came up here and taught on short sales. And was that 2009 or 10?
I want to say it was 2009 because then I came down and shadowed you guys in 2010.
Yeah. At either rate, it was a long time ago because we're old. And so
I want to say it was actually
blend
around this time. It was like September, October of 2009. It was. I think maybe it was 10 years
it would
to
have
the
to-
day.
To the day?
Maybe today's
Oh,
the
shit.
anniversary.
Actually, no, it would have to have been
Wow.
2010 because we didn't start that website of that video blog until November of 2009 because I just read Crush It that had just come out.
Yeah.
And we went and bought a camera like November 1st or 2nd, some crap like that. So maybe it was 2000. Maybe
Well, we'll have to do
November
a timeline
2000.
for our guests.
I didn't find you on that though. I saw you at family reunion.
Yeah, but oddly enough, I have all my old emails, so I'm going to go and find it now.
Oh my god.
I just feel like we should pretend like today is the day.
Today's
I
the
feel
day.
like this is the 10-year anniversary.
Let's do this. Do
Yeah,
not release this episode until the exact date.
Margaret's 7-year anniversary with Pickett Street was yesterday.
I saw that, by the way.
Yeah,
Congrats.
Thank you.
Or condolences. I'm not sure. A little both.
That seems to pale in comparison to this 10-year anniversary Kevin and I are celebrating today.
We go way back,
That's
bro.
truly epic.
This bond is deep.
I also have to, for context, say that you are not in the Keller Williams family. You come from another camp.
From
Do
another
you guys
planet.
only let Keller Williams agents listen to this?
Yes.
Is
We
this like
do.
a
We limit it. Yeah.
subscriber only feed where you have to have your @KW email address? Is that how this works?
Yeah.
You actually have to own a pair of Keller Williams red shoes if you want to listen to this podcast.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's but I was, right? We were both at Keller Williams when we first
You
met.
were like the poster child for a little while. You're like the
Like one of those
the,
like Gerber child baby
thong-footed
posters.
poster child of Keller
Thong-footed.
Williams.
I think.
That's a special class of real estate agent.
you edit this right before
Not
it
at
goes
all,
out.
no.
Awesome. Yeah, so I sell real estate. Hi, my name is Kevin, and I sell real estate and mostly just joke around with my friends.
You also formed a small group. I think a few people have probably heard of called Next Level Agents.
So we do have a Facebook group called Next Level Agents. It's probably 25,000 people. But here's the interesting part. Nobody's really heard of it. Like, it feels big because it's 25,000, but contextual, you're a big fan of context. There's 1.1 million realtors and 2 million real estate agents in the United States. It's microscopic. It's really small. So it's funny because I think when you're in something, like you just assume everyone else is in it too.
Right.
And so I'll have people, and it's not just myself, but other people that are like, they actively participate, and they'll be like, oh yeah. Like there's this great, like everyone's in this Facebook group, and like there'll be 7 other people at the table that are like, I never heard of it. Like, so I know. It's awesome. But
No.
it's a good group. It's big.
Are you trying
but
to
it's
tell us
fun.
that you're a celebrity in your own mind?
In my own mind, for
Like
certain.
in the hair selling system
yeah.
universe, you're the keynote speaker.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it.
See,
I always wanted to be Billy Mays, so
you did. I've known this.
I
about
still
you.
want to do that. Like I legit
As
want to
a-
film infomercials for a living. I just need to get someone to pay me to do it.
What do you think of the ShamWow guy? Aussie, isn't he an Aussie?
Yeah, I mean, whatever.
Okay. Billy Mays. Okay.
He's not Billy Mays.
Yeah.
Only Billy Mays is Billy Mays.
Kevin's very like one-sided. Like if
I am until you change my mind. I am very one-sided, and I will admit that. You know, something one of my very best friends said to me. He essentially said that he didn't articulate it as directly as you just did, in calling me one-sided. However, he made that point. He said, "But," he said, "you're that way until you're not, and you're always open to being not that way, to not having that opinion." And I think because I come off so strong on sounding one-sided, because everything is extreme to me. Like I love this or I hate that, or this is the best, or or it's terrible. I don't want anything to do with it. Like, because that's some of the language that I use. I absolutely always want to know the other argument, and if you convince me, I'll
Do people ever call you intimidating?
No. Maybe they don't.
We were just talking about that
Maybe I
earlier.
intimidated somebody, and so they didn't tell me.
Yeah.
But no, I don't.
Are you saying you're so intimidating? People are afraid to call you
People
intimidating.
are afraid to say it.
Clearly, I'm so intimidating. You know, I just walk around with all the intimidating. I can't even say the damn word, so I can't be it.
Also, I feel like you already have a relationship with the neck hammock people. Like, why aren't you doing an infomercial for them?
They have not accepted me into their community the way that they should have.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if we're allowed to speak about this relationship.
The manufacturer did. They wanted me to make my own version of the neck hammock, but it was literally gonna be like $6 or $7 grand for one order.
Oh, jeez.
I forget how many it was. Actually ordering the neck hammocks themselves wouldn't have been that expensive. The shipping would have doubled the cost. And it was like, I will do a lot of stuff for likes and comments on Facebook. Like we'll go live and do a demonstration of the neck hammock together. But paying like $6 or $7 grand just so I can order, it felt like it was like even for me, a little too extra.
Yeah. Extra.
All right, I'm going to ask a question. I'm just going to go off the cuff here. But I feel like Kevin's uniquely qualified to answer this question.
Pretty much any question. Yeah.
How do you feel about the tribalism that exists in our industry? Like if you're the KW camp or the EXP camp.
It's the dumbest shit.
Right?
Am I allowed to say shit on your podcast?
Yes.
Yeah,
I say it on mine.
Yep.
It's dumb. I say that knowing that I participate in it very strategically, but I think it's very dumb. I don't like it.
Why is it dumb?
I think it holds us back. I think it holds us back from progressing as an industry and learning from each other. As an example, there is agents who will not like, as an example. Okay, so like I'm going to go to an event today and talk to other agents from all different companies, and I promise you there is more than one person that said, "Is he just going to talk about EXP the whole time?" And I'm like, I'm actually not going to even mention EXP the entire time, and it won't even be on part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But that prevents someone from going, what can I get from this relationship or this relationship or this conversation? And I think it's the reality is it kind of starts at the top and works its way down.
Yeah, it does seem weird to have like a class structure around our industry where it's like, these are the cool, yeah, to have cliques. Yeah.
I think to a certain extent, I don't want to say it's acceptable, but it's probably smart, but not from a company line thing. I think it's because our industry can be so niched, right? And there's really so many different ways of building your business that, like, let's say if Margaret and I are both like builder experts, like, okay, great. And maybe you are more of a farmer, right? Like that, then you should hang out with, not that you should only hang out with other people who farm for business, but do you know what I mean? I get that there should be some of that, but not, to me, it's not like the KW, Remax, EXP, local, or John L. Scott or Windermere. To me, that's all stupid. Like there's something I can learn from most people.
Yeah. No, and that's something, that's how we got in relationship, right? I wanted to learn short sales, and you're the one raising your hand saying, hey, I can teach about short sales. So, and it's funny, I'm on a few BPO lists, from back in the day, and from REO, and I don't do I haven't done a BPO. For those that are listening, it's called a broker price opinion. It's similar to an appraisal. It's like a light version of an appraisal.
Exactly.
And they're pain in the butt for realtors to do, and you get paid nothing to do them. But if you do enough of them, they lure you with the idea that they're going to award you REO listings. Anyway, after like not getting any orders for years, all of a sudden I've probably gotten 5 orders this week. Like, it's an interesting sign that all of a sudden I'm seeing BPO orders coming in. It helps me. It makes me wonder about the market and how things are shifting in general.
That is interesting.
And it's to the point where I don't know. Could you do a short sale right now?
Yeah.
And you remember everything?
No, but because it was never really about the process that we taught, that was refined over time. But, because you learn stuff through trial and error. But truthfully, I still feel like it was more of a mindset than anything else. Having done 1,000 of them or whatever, we still do. Let me put it to you this way. Like, we still do short sales all the time. Never a lot of them. Like, we'll do probably 10 this year. So not a lot. Our VA does them. We trained her 9 years ago or 8 years ago. And she used to just send the initial faxes when we still faxed to get short sale packages set up. Like, that was her job, was to do the setup file. And then once it got, confirmed that they had received it, then one of us took over. And now she just does it all. And rarely is somebody on the team getting involved.
That's awesome.
But I think I could do it today, and I'd probably like it too much because it's such a great way to get frustration out.
Well, and like everyone that made money in a distressed market, you wouldn't begrudge that market coming back, probably.
Not at all. Like, now I actually know how to run a business, and before I just knew how to do short sales. So I would welcome it with open arms. Like, I say that not wanting for the people around me or the people in my community to hurt, financially or anything like that. But from a purely business, like, strategic standpoint, nothing could be better for my business.
I'll tell you what I miss about short sales that I realized recently. With short sales and REOs, you had that closings year round, right? Because you were still listing them between Thanksgiving and Christmas. You were still listing short sales, right? You were still listing bank-owned properties. Like, they didn't slow down for much of anything, right? And so it's different in our market now, where there's like no short sales and very few REOs.
Yeah.
That you feel the cyclical hit of the market, the seasonal part of the market a lot more.
You mean the fact that real estate agents just take time off and are lazy as hell and use that as an excuse to not to work during that time of year? Yeah, I feel that too. Did I say that out loud on your podcast? Is that allowed? It's okay, folks. I'm an EXP agent. We're allowed to say dumb stuff like that.
Well, you can lead gen your way out of anything, but at the same time, I think this is a complicated discussion.
Well, I think the slowdown is because we slow down. I say we as realtors. Like, I'm a card-carrying member still.
All right, so let me ask you this. Your mom needs to sell her place. Are you going to list her place between Thanksgiving and Christmas?
If she needs to sell it right now, yeah.
But what if she has a 6-month? She can. She's like every seller out there. I don't need to sell my place. Like,
am I in Arizona when I'm doing this? Like, where I actually live? Then for sure.
Well, then for sure. Because you probably aren't.
Because I don't live in, like, Minneapolis. Like, nothing's freezing. Like, pipes aren't going to freeze or stuff like that for us in the wintertime. So
yeah, we talk about that a lot up here, because I would not recommend that my parents list their house just because I know from having been here 7 years that it's not the best time for us to sell in Seattle.
So what I firmly believe is, like, the real estate agent's job has changed so much, despite the fact that we're dragging our feet, not wanting it to be like. It's not like we find the properties for our clients.
Right. No.
They find it themselves. So if I list a property, it's going to be where the buyers can find it. And if their real estate agent isn't available, then it's not gonna stop them from contacting us or contacting a different real estate agent to say, hey, can you help me? So yeah, are there times where it's better? I guess it depends on what you think better is. Like, March 1st, that's the day. March 1st, it picks up in Phoenix every year, right? But there's more listings that day, so now there's more competition. So
right.
What's better?
We definitely talk about changing the focus. I think that's the heart of the conversation we have. So, like, I would tell our buyers team after Labor Day, I would say, hey, get ready. This is your season. This is, come off the bench and get ready to hit the ball, because this is the perfect time for your buyers to buy. whereas our listings may not have as many listings in the end of the third, fourth quarter of the year. But we would highly recommend buyers go out and buy because interest rates are great. There's less competition. We can get closing costs covered, strategically, I think.
Give me an idea, though, how many listings are available, say, on September, whatever, the week after Labor Day, versus how many are active on the market a month before? Like, is it drastically different?
No, but let's say, like I said, after Thanksgiving, between Thanksgiving and Christmas, I would say it is drastically different in that time frame.
I think, though, that those conversations usually would mean they had to happen in October or September. And are there more? I think that is a bigger objection that sellers make. It's like, it's the holidays. I don't want to do it yet. I think that's a bigger objection. So I believe that, okay, so let's say, for just the sake of an example, my goal is 10 listings a month, and I don't want that to change in November and December.
Right.
That just means in August, September, I better be making more phone calls and having more contacts if I'm going to still take 10, because it might take, maybe it took 15 appointments to get 10 listings most other months, and now it might take me 22 appointments to get those 10. But if that 10 is what's important to me, that's on me to make sure that my business. But I think what most agents do is they go, well, it's just not busy that time of year, and so I'm going to take that time off.
Yeah, no,
and it's kind of like the self-fulfilling prophecy type deal.
I totally get that. We're having a nice little flurry of activity on the listing side, and it's because we focused on segments of the market that move in that time frame, which would be, for us, investor stuff, multifamily, because investors will buy any time of the year, and then distressed stuff, where, what's up, buddy? Where people have to, we're taking a selfie as we talk. But the distress part where people have a hard deadline, right? They have a foreclosure coming or looming. Yeah. And so we focus on that in the slower fourth quarter. And then for us, you said March 1st for you. For us, January 3rd hits, and it's like a totally different ballgame.
It's funny. I always joke in Phoenix that realtors take from the Tuesday of Thanksgiving until the Tuesday after the national championship football game for football or for college football off.
I totally agree. I mean, our office parking lot will be empty. We'll be here, and maybe the other teams will be here, but very few people. It's dead. And I'm like, this is when we do all sorts of good work.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's when the planning happens. That's when, okay, so you have more. Let's say you have more downtime, right? Because you're not in the business. You have more time to be on the business at that point. If nothing else, okay, let's just accept that I'm only taking 5 listings now instead of 10. So for that 2 months, that means I now have back, whatever, call it 10 hours a week. I'm gonna use that 10 hours a week to be planning and working on strategic things that are on the business, as opposed to making phone calls and going on appointments, negotiating contracts and crap like that.
What else do our listeners need to know, Kevin?
Oh my God.
Well, I think you should absolutely talk about red light therapy, because
I feel like we need a whole
I've had some good conversations
separate,
about that.
We need a whole separate
life hack episode.
Yeah, we're gonna need an episode. And in fact,
life hack episode, that'd be cool.
Why don't we do one? But I will just have my red light with me.
Okay.
I won't bring it here.
You have one with you?
You know what? I don't. I had a travel one that got stolen this year. So I guess maybe if we have to do this podcast in person, I could just bring a travel one again next year. I mean, next time I'm here.
Do you have an evil arch rival who steals your life hacking?
What? Oh, life hacking arch rival. No, I don't. No, we just had our bags stolen out of our vehicle. So my red light to go, which was 2 weeks old at the time, got stolen.
That sucks.
I'm a little sad about it still.
Give you a hug.
We could have a whole life hack episode, and I'll just do it in front of a red light.
So red light. Do you ever use a red light while you're also using the neck hammock? Or does that open up a wormhole or something?
I have to say, the research and the time that you've spent on health and just the brief conversations that we've had.
How do you feel
he probably uses the neck hammock at the same time as the red therapy, at the same time he does 3 other things.
How do you feel about the Monat hair therapy?
Monate
hair
As you
therapy.
can tell from my hair, which is obviously spunky and healthy, I'm not.
There's
just
some
a
people
user.
making some good money with
For
Monday.
real, like no joke. for
Freaking
real.
millionaires I'm watching.
I use my vibration plate and my red light simultaneously almost every day.
Vibration plate.
What's a
Is that
vibration?
different than
What it
the
sounds
Theragun thing?
Yeah, that's a gun. That's like a massage gun. Like my vibration plate is what it sounds like. It's a big square, probably about that big. And you turn on the motor and it vibrates you all the way up to so you sound like that. You know,
Like you would tumble.
What's the goal with that thing? What is it doing?
so much. So you could. Some people use them for. Some people use
So
those for
much.
exercise. Like they exercise on it.
Are you
literally.
talking? Do you remember?
I don't.
Do you know, like in the 1950s, where they had
Yes.
that belt that went
That's
around
what I'm
your head
envisioning
right
and it
now.
would shake you?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what I thought too. And I was like, so there are there's everything from people will exercise on it, like do push-ups on it and do sit-ups on it, do squats, stuff like that. I don't. I know people that's their whole exercise routine is on a vibration plate or machine. I always say if you just stand on it, it feels like a massage from the inside out as opposed to the outside in, right? So I do it because it feels good. There's benefits for sleep. Just like with red light.
I feel like that sounds like a bad thing. If your insides want to be on the outsides,
Not that they
isn't that-
want to be on the outside. I'm saying it massages you
They
from
want
the
to feel
inside
good
out.
on the inside.
Like if you just stand on it, especially if your legs are tired, like you had a long day, it feels so good.
I don't know. I have a
Now I
broken
wanna try
tailbone.
it.
It makes my tailbone.
that doesn't sound like a
tickle.
good idea for you.
You probably wouldn't
Yeah,
want to sit on it, but you might
Probably.
want to stand on it.
Maybe.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm trying to be
anything
open
that
to new
upregulates
things.
your mitochondria is a good thing,
Yeah.
and that's amongst the
Oh, I was
the
hoping
benefits
we
of-
would talk about mitochondrial stimulation.
absolutely, buddy.
What else do you know about
I would love for you to
mitochondrials?
stimulate my mitochondria. I'm not gonna lie. Should we talk about red lights? I've recently started using a sleep mask.
Oh,
I bought
hey,
one
me
from.
too.
I love it. I bought one for my wife last
yeah.
year, and she's loved it. And so I'm like, she needed a new one because the strap was coming loose, and so I was like, I was gonna buy two this time. So I bought myself one. I'm like, wow, this is really cool, amazing for last night. I stayed in a hotel. Awesome. No lights peeking in. It's amazing.
That's what I'm talking
So I'm
about.
like 2
Is
weeks
it a
into-
blackout mask specifically?
Yeah, it's a Manta is
There
the
we go.
brand. And
Do your
I'm-
eyelashes hit the underside of it?
no.
We were literally just talking about this before you walked in.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
Because I
funny.
just got one in last week and I love it.
It's
But
awesome.
Margaret's also using a lash developer. What's it called? A
It's a lash
stimulator.
extender, so my lashes
Oh.
hit the back of it, so that's the only. But
It's
I was
like
just happy
stimulating your
about that.
mitochondria, only it's your lashes.
I had no idea where this was going to go.
You would.
Do you think both
You would
listeners
be
are still
so-
listening?
You'd be so pretty with long eyelashes.
You know what? Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll hack my eyelashes next.
What prompted you to get an eye mask, though?
Light getting in.
Trisha, yes. Trisha wanted one, and it was a reoccurring theme in Tim Ferriss's. I don't think it was Tools of Titans. Maybe it was the next one, Tribe of Mentors. No, maybe it was Tools of Titans. It was a reoccurring theme there in one of those two books, because he always asked about sleep.
Yeah.
And that kept coming up. And so when she mentioned maybe wanting one, I just went and found that page or whatever so I could find the brand, and I just ordered
Did you
that.
Google
That's
buy
cool.
one get one eye mask?
No, apparently I should have. I did get buy one get one though. This when I just reordered, so that was nice.
Out of that, not Tools of Titans, but Tribe of Mentors.
Tribe of Mentors.
One of my favorite life hacks came out of that book.
Which is
The host defense, my community host defense mushroom
Mushrooms.
supplement.
you know what? I still haven't tried that. I feel like I need
I-
to
He
use that
swears
one.
by
I have not
Yeah.
been sick in December. It'll be 2 years, solid years of not being sick one time.
It is pretty crazy.
And all I do is take 2 of those every day.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. My buddy
Yeah.
Josh in Phoenix uses it. Yeah.
It's legit. I would highly recommend that.
I love
Thanks
that.
I
for the
think
reminder.
it does like a suplex on your mitochondrial DNA.
Think so?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it does.
You know what? You know what else is one of my favorite hacks that came out of Tribe of Tools of Titans. I got a chili pad. You know what that is? Keeps your
Chili
bed
pad?
cool. It goes under your mattress, or it goes on top of your mattress, below your sheet.
A little
You
blower.
get to you control the temperature with it, so it runs water through these little
What?
tubes, and you can control the temperature of it. So, because the cooler you sleep, the better your body, the better it is for your body. from a repair standpoint. So my
Do you
wife
have
uses
like
it
a
to warm up.
stimulation problem? Like, do you have to be constantly stimulated
Maybe.
in some way?
I don't know.
With
Would you stimulate my
artificial light?
Can I get you to stimulate my mitochondria?
Well, thinking about the cooling, I can't imagine sleeping on like a cold pad. But you also did that thing where you went into like a chamber, an ice chamber.
Like cryotherapy.
Cryotherapy.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, which I wanted to try, but I think after talking to you, I decided not to because I have Reynolds.
Yeah, you should not do that.
No,
That
you
is,
can't.
they
Yeah,
wouldn't
you
even let
can't.
you.
They wouldn't
if you
even- I
disclosed it, they wouldn't even let you in.
So I know that's been helpful for you though.
Yeah, but there's many other ways you can do that.
Yeah.
You could get that type of benefit.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go on an anaphylactic shock because you eat peanuts, then you don't eat peanuts. So if you have Reynolds syndrome, you can't use
Yes, I agree. It's
cryotherapy.
kind of like that.
I'm just worried I have some sort of mitochondrial issue that I don't know about.
I'm pretty sure
definitely
we
have an
definitely
issue.
do.
Gonna become
It's an
a-
issue. I can tell you that.
See, we're covering a lot of ground today.
Yeah, we
We
are.
really are.
I feel like you have a big thing coming up in like 50 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I was
Do you
just.
need to get
Are
some
you
lunch?
being beckoned?
I sort of am. Like I have to be there at 12:30,
Okay.
Okay.
You probably should eat something.
11, which is
Well,
in
and
21
we gotta
minutes.
introduce you to people. You gotta walk the
Yeah.
halls.
I gotta
You gotta
shake
get
hands.
kicked out
kiss
by the
babies.
team leader
Yeah.
of this office.
If that really happens, I want to see it.
Wait, you mean get kicked out of this building?
Probably, yeah.
Really?
Not really. No.
I mean,
no.
we might be thrown out for talking to you.
Well, I was worried that the building would burn
Totally
down. It's a
okay.
good thing I walked through the law
Okay.
office entrance.
We'll take you through the special exit.
Yeah.
Like where they let the VIPs and the secret people that are going to a special type of detention center go through.
Yep.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
Definitely.
Or you have to put a black hood on my face for that? Or my
Probably.
head?
Yeah.
We might go red light, like a shroud of red light.
Wow.
Shroud.
I'm gonna, I'm gonna introduce you to some of this stuff, and it's gonna change your life, buddy.
Well, together, we're gonna change each other's lives. That's how I feel.
Well, we already have in a way, but we're gonna take it up a notch for you.
Oh my God. Have you guys ever thought about working together?
Or no, because we would just do this the
Yeah.
whole time.
Right.
It would be terrible.
Yeah.
It would be the most. I'm already unproductive enough.
Right.
If you leave me to my own devices, I'm so unproductive.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna go to this mastermind that Kevin's gonna be leading. I'm gonna sit there quietly, as
Quietly.
if I don't have a thought in my head, and I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna ask some crazy questions.
Are you gonna be the guy that like lobs the?
I'm gonna probably ask about showing assistance, what you
Please
think of
do.
showing assistance,
Thanks, Christine.
and that model, and I might ask you about expansion.
You want to ask me which disc profile the showing assistant should be?
Well,
And how
you
about
know,
like leads? Just about where he gets his leads.
I'm gonna ask
Period.
about
Ask me
hiring.
if my leads are good or if they suck.
I'm gonna ask about hiring a relative, and maybe
You want to ask me about business partnerships?
yeah, I want you to name names.
I won't.
That's how you get Kevin to be quiet.
I'll name Fred's names. Yeah. Anyways,
Well,
yeah.
we're very excited to have you in the Pacific Northwest.
I'm excited
I
to
know
be
you
here.
like. We had to sit outside today.
was
I joined
beautiful.
Kevin for coffee, and he's like, "Can we sit outside?" And I'm like, "Motherfucker, it's cold outside." But we did. I sat outside.
Wow.
It was nice. Got a little chilly after a while, but like overall, it's nice.
I'm just glad I wore a jacket. I almost didn't wear a jacket. Then it would have been.
I wouldn't have made you sit outside then. I would have taken pity on you and taken off my jacket and sat inside.
He's serious about this cold therapy stuff. It's like legit.
Well, I just like to be outside. Like I am serious about the sunlight.
Yeah.
How was the coffee
Yeah.
today?
It was decent.
Well, I mean,
I've had
it's-
better.
It's
It's not Vivace, I can tell you
didn't
that.
want to
Yeah,
drive half an hour to.
I mean, that's not the best.
I
bet.
thought
Dental
about
coffee.
like asking them to move my class time so I could have Vivace, but I thought that'd be
Solid choice.
that a little diva-ish.
I get Vivace. I have Vivace send me beans directly to my house every
Really?
other week.
Did Andy ever tell you about the time when he was in Austin and he just randomly went to some total random coffee shop and then
They had
Like they
Vivace
were-
beans.
they were trained by
Wow.
the head whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's not
Telling ya.
serendipitous. I don't know what it
If
is.
you guys ever
I actually
come
don't
to
know
Seattle,
the definition of the word serendipity, but I think I
Oh,
think I
it's a
used
good
it correctly.
word. Yeah, you did.
I did,
Totally.
I?
It's
Okay, good.
serendipitous.
Yeah.
I think it was the name of your My Little Pony.
So that's how true.
Serendipity.
Still is. So that's how I learn is I don't actually know things. I just pick up on context. That's it.
So if you're in the Seattle area, what Kevin's trying to say is you should go to Espresso Vivace.
Yeah, only if you like amazing espresso.
So good.
It's
So
the
good.
best on the. I still have yet to taste anything that is even rivals it. I've had people tell me that they know better. I just think
They
they're
don't.
stupid
They are.
and full of themselves.
They don't. They're not self-aware. Obviously,
They're like also like
they don't know their
swishing
own
it.
shortcomings.
Clearly, they don't.
Their lack of knowledge about coffee.
Yeah, they don't know anything about what they're talking about.
They're obviously like from another camp.
Yeah, and they should be ridiculed for it.
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna start naming names.
Our followers need to follow you on Instagram, by the way. I'm just going to throw that out there because Kevin's become more entertaining on Instagram in the last year, I'd say, than previously.
Hey, what's it like to hire someone to shoot your Instagram post for you?
I don't have someone that shoots my Instagram posts.
No, what's it like, man? It's okay. It's
I
this is
don't.
what we talk about. We talk about authenticity.
I don't. I wish I had someone.
This is where we pull the veil to
no.
the side,
Pull the veil
and you
back.
let them see.
No, so a couple years ago, my best friend growing up he's grown quite a few brands on Instagram, and so I was like, what could you do with mine? And he was like, I don't know, we could find out because he never helped anybody in real estate. So I was like, well, let's give it 6 months, see what happens. And it just like there was really nothing that came out of it. I probably recruited an agent or two to my team from it, nothing special. And then I was like, Instagram like burnout, so I just avoided it. And I think what you appreciate now is the fact that my ability to care has dropped even lower. Because like I don't post anything that looks pretty.
No, it's just real life. Yeah.
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 Like it's a mess. Like that. Like for like the 6 months Jamie had control of my page, it looked clean and good.
And
now it's like a
Was it a lot of
smorgasbord
black and
crap.
white? Was it a lot of black and white posts?
No.
I like how once gray started showing up in your beard, you went to like a black and white format.
You know what?
It's very dignified.
It's because
totally.
so he is also a photographer, and he's the only person that's ever taken pictures of me that I liked. And he just happened to put one of them in black and white. I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good. I like that. I'm okay with it gray. I'm not, but I don't know. Like I don't like it, but it's just what it is. It's like my hair. Like I declared bankruptcy on my hair years ago too. I said, screw it. If Monet can't help it, then nothing will.
I know, and you had that great emo punk hair before.
Did I?
Emo
Well, not
punk?
more emo than punk, but it was like long. It looked kind of like
Mohawk?
an anime haircut,
Anime?
where it's like zigzaggy.
Wow.
Have you seen pictures of me when I actually
Yeah,
had
dude.
hair?
Yes, this is what I'm referring to.
When I was younger, like I really had hair. I suppose a long time ago. Now I'm starting to get sad thinking about the hair I don't have.
Oh, jeez.
I know. I'm
In this
gonna
episode, Kevin Kauffman gets sad.
a way to ruin like my mojo prior to having to go literally be on stage.
Do you ever just like run your hand along your
My
your
beard.
facial hair and
I
go,
do it to make people think that I'm thinking.
They're thinking about something. It's thoughtful
They're
looking.
like, shit,
Yeah.
he's really reflecting inward right now. I'm thinking like I would really like a cup of espresso
Vivace.
right now. But then people like think I'm pondering what the hell they just said, and I'm like, no.
All right, well, I'm excited for your mastermind. We better let you go to it. Thanks for popping in.
Dude, I'm glad I'm here. This is fun. I could do this
Just
for hours.
pure fire. You just dropped pure fire on our
Yeah.
listeners.
So could I just apologize on behalf of all of us to?
I mean, you didn't hear the first half of this episode. You
Hopefully
totally
it was good
redeemed
because
it.
I completely ruined the end of it.
You
That's for
redeemed
sure.
it, for sure. No, it's nice having someone who's infamous on the show. Notorious.
Something like that.
Notorious.
Hashtag Kevin Kauffman.
Wow.
That'll be the first hashtag we use.
That's the hashtag. Is his actual name? Are we gonna get him a leather belt with it too? Like,
A leather belt. What?
don't you? Where I grew up, people would put their name on their leather belt. Like,
No, where I
like
grew up.
Joe.
Oh no, where I grew up, they put it on their belt buckle.
Well, on the belt is even worse.
I think that's a difference of like ranching
Yeah.
community and a farming community. Like there's a difference. I grew up in a
there
farming
is definitely a difference.
community.
Yeah, ranching has a little more pizzazz, a little style, a little flair. I think ranchers have the name on their belt. It's just to say, you know what? I paid to make this.
I paid some guy to write my name in leather. That's what that says.
I mean, that's better than getting your own name tattooed on your body, right?
I'm a big believer. Like, never should a name be tattooed on a body.
unless it's in the form of a leather belt. Like if it was tattooed like a belt with your name on it.
Dude, that's the best
God.
idea.
Oh, I want to say
awful.
this. Kevin and I did have this great idea in the heyday of like Recruit Select and everything that was happening, and the DIS profile and the AVA, where we wanted to open at Family Reunion and Mega Camp. We wanted to have a tattoo booth.
I remember
if you
this.
came, you could get your DIS
AVA
profile or
or
your
number
AVA
tattooed on
score
there.
like tattooed on your
I
body.
think it's a smart idea.
And we put it on Twitter as like a joke, and legit, we had people hitting
I'm
us
sure
up.
you did.
9812 right here.
Remember that one girl? She's
Yeah,
like,
it's-
I put it right under my Realtor logo. She had a Realtor logo as a tramp stamp.
Is that Janice that has that? I think it's Janice Baldwin.
Don't say the name.
No, she's totally cool. Like,
But
she's
there was someone who was like, I would put it right below my Realtor logo. I was like, wait, you have a Realtor logo tattooed on your body? Okay, you would put your AVA score or your DIS
Wow.
score.
Legit.
hashtag for reals.
So many good stories. You could have had High Vector 1. Hashtag High Vector 1.
See, I'm really more of a low vector 3 than I'm a high vector 1, even though I'm a high vector 1.
See, this is what we could talk about this stuff forever.
Totally.
All right,
All
thanks,
right.
man.
There's going to be a part 2.
Thanks for having me. Is this where someone like comes and throws a mask over my head and?
Pretty much, yeah.
All right.
Don't worry about it.
Can one of you tell me the address of where I'm going?
Yep. All right. See you next time, everybody.